So if you're military looking to move to the Los Angeles area, I'm going to talk to you about what it looks like for your BAH and if that will cover your housing costs. Hi, I'm Tasha. I'm with eXp Realty. If you're military moving here soon, LA does not cover the entirety of your housing costs here. So what you're going to be looking at is around $3,000 a month for a one-bedroom apartment in Los Angeles area. So I'm talking about Los Angeles County. And then a two-bedroom single-family home is around $4,000 a month. And of course, all these are dependent upon the area that you go to and the size. And there's a couple other factors to take into consideration when you're considering a median price point. And then, you're looking at about $835,000. That's the median price for a home in Los Angeles. And that's going to increase 11% each year. So that's a year-over-year increase. Rent has increased 14.5% in the past year. So, take that into account. Rent is going to continue to increase. Housing prices are going to continue to increase. And if you are in that monthly rental, more than likely, or in that yearly rental, more than likely the landlord is going to come back to you and ask for you to raise your, the rent the very next year. So the BAH for a captain in the Air Force with dependents is around $37.17. And so whenever you take that into consideration, your BAH is not meant to cover the entirety of your housing costs. Congress only means for it to cover about 95% of your housing costs. So if you take into account with how big of a family you may or may not be moving with, that $4,000 average price point isn't really going to cover what you want in the areas that you want out of that BAH amount. As we're already talking about, if the average median price point for a single family home to rent is $4,000, then we're talking already a couple hundred out of pocket each month. And also you got to take into consideration utilities into that, because typically the only thing that is included here, and I'm talking about in standard scenarios that I've seen, the utilities are not included. It's only the gardener usually, if that. And so you're looking at taking those utilities out of pocket. So before you look at it, it's about a $300, $400, $500 difference in what you're having to pay out of pocket. And if you're going to have that high rent increase every year, and you take into account that there's an 11% year increase if you were to purchase, it just numbers wise makes sense as far as the increases go. If you have the rent increasing by 14.5%, if it continues to go at that rate, and 11% year over year, if that continues to go at that rate as well. But either way that you look at it, you'll be paying some money out of pocket anyways. So we also do consultations to help you walk through what your housing options look like in the Los Angeles area, and kind of help you with figuring out those numbers and what makes sense for you. What we find, if you're here for 2 years or more, it makes more sense to buy. But if you're talking purely if your BH is going to cover your housing costs here, unfortunately, it just won't. You may be one of the lucky ones where it does, but more likely than not, it's not going to cover that amount that you need. So, but reach out to me in the comment section down below. I'll put a link in the description, and you can schedule a consult with me. So I do a housing support call to help support you in whatever needs you have. And there's no obligation or pressure. I just talk you through what your housing options are. So I would love to sit down with you and do that. Please be sure to like and comment and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching.